expert in a very distinct firearm that they very strongly suggest this is a real firearm. Face shots, when we're talking about discharging a firearm to commit a first-degree murder, and let's say this wasn't a distinguishable firearm, there's some argument, maybe not proof beyond a reasonable doubt if it was a handgun that's easily replicated, but there's some argument to have been made in a different scenario that, actually saying those words out of your mouth, you're not gonna wrap those specific words with a fake firearm in your hand. I'm just saying that to some extent the lyrics are relevant also to your consideration of the fact that he is going to be in possession of a real firearm, talking about committing a first-degree murder. But even more importantly, these lyrics at the end, if we do some, expletive, don't you tell a soul. Keep that expletive concealed. Keep your mouth closed. And we see a misspelling on my part on the fence. It says, a C word, say something. We don't say expletive. No witnesses, we beat cases. How does that not convey a message to you that, because you'll hear lyrics in there that he's saying, my people will shoot for me. Listen out for that. Because I submit to you that the evidence in this case shows that he is a figurehead and a leader of Y&R. And that's one of the ways that you can see that is because he's saying that he has people under him acting on behalf of him. It's a real lyric. It's in the music video where he's talking about what they're willing to do on his behalf. So, what would disappoint him if a member did? If a member opened their mouth or said something to the police? Right after that, March 25th, 2018, series of burglaries into vehicles. This is in a neighborhood off of Wasco Road. This is in Mandarin Era. It's not near Moncrief. That's not near Arlington. We're out there, I submit to you, committing burglaries to vehicles, and we're not going to do it on our main turf. Video surveillance shows 3 males. Fingerprint evidence reveals positive matches to Joseph Carter, Tyler Jackson, and Jabri Cook. Then, May 26, 2018, we have the same residence, 1551 West 33rd Street. We've already established that Tyler Jackson is a resident. Now you hear from Detective Daigle that he is the actual sole resident of that unit at that time. But, here again, he's with a documented member, and he's found to be in joint possession. You heard testimony from Detective Daigle, and one of the instances where you got an inside look. This case, the charges were not filed. And why is that, did he tell you? That's because the firearms that were found, the narcotics that were found, the ammunition that were found, pills that were found, they were found to be in joint possession of 2 criminal gang members because they were together, acting jointly. There you go. So, we move on from here. On July 28, 2018, he posts a story with Tony Cho. Tony Cho is using some common hand signs to Y&R. On August 7, 2018, you have heard testimony from Detective Barry. Tyler Jackson has a Y&R tattoo. And he posted to his story in August of 2018. This would have been after Murder 1 had been released in April. He posts this on August 18, 2018. We see it we actually see it on his profile on that day. He indicates, follow my brother, he's spelled it B-R-U-D-D-A, at K for Bree. We know that K means killer. We know that K for Bree is Jabri Cook. Jabri Cook is a documented member. I'm not saying Jabri Cook is behind that mask. We cannot say for sure. But the beanie that he's wearing says Y&R, and he's also wearing a chain. And you've heard the reference to what Detective Barry has seen on those chains go back to day. Hey, what else do you see in this video? Or, excuse me, the photo. You see a firearm in his pocket. Here we have Draco. There are lyrics in this particular music video that have to do with the West Side, and they specifically rep, hey, if we get caught on the West Side, it's not going to be a good situation. situation for us. We're not welcome in the West Side. The West Side is associated with ATK. But you also hear about another rival gang of theirs, which is 1200. Because in this particular Draco video, they're dropping a 12. And 1200 members have a hand sign that's a 12. They don't do it down, they do it up. And if you do it down, that's a direct diss to 1200. That's something that they are going to respond to, just like ATK or whoever responded by burning the white flag or white bandana that Y&R members carry. These hand signs are meant to offend. They're meant to get groups to do something. But at the same time, what is it meant to do? Promote the status of the local criminal street gang. What is the music video of Murder One doing, if anything else? It's only doing that. Burning the Ace card refers to youngin' Ace, and that is one of the most prominent members of ATK. Tyler Jackson, Tyler Simmons, Brian Smith, Keyshawn Diller, Jamari Johnson are all documented members and are all in that video. You heard that there were multiple individuals in possession of firearms in that video, and some of those members were able to be arrested as prohibited persons. Draco. Probably not now. That was one of the lyrics of the Draco music video. So, what are we doing? What are we doing after Draco is released? We are promoting Draco. Ride around with the what? Our case didn't have a Draco. Our case had a more distinct variant of an AK-47 than even a Draco. What's a Draco though? It's an AK-47. Y&R, and we dropped the 2 and the 3. Okay, states 45, left to right, Brian Smith, Tyler Simmons. I'm going to skip who's in the back, but in between, I believe we did have testimony that was Jalen Nixon, Tyler Jackson, and then the next testimony that we had in the red shoes is Jabri Cook. This is a photograph that Jabri Cook sent to Y&R Mookey, _ Rufus Mookey. And here we are again. You might recognize some people that actually weren't identified because they were identified in the other photograph. This is the story that was posted on September 29, 2018. So understand, what does that mean, guys? At this point, Tyler Jackson is aware, because he was in the video of Draco in August, okay, with a firearm. Now we're posting a story, but we're not going to see as many firearms. We're not going to see as many firearms posted to the public because we understand. You know that Tyler Simmons is a prohibited person by now, because you know that Tyler Simmons was in Draco and pled guilty to being in possession of a firearm as a prohibited person for the firearm that he was possessing in Draco. And you saw the judgment and sentence, and it was submitted as evidence. So now you're going to see a little less firearms open up to the public. Some in private messages. This is a story. So understand what a story is, and you may not, maybe you don't do Instagram, some people don't, but a story is going to be publicly posted to anyone who has access to your account. If it's not private, it's literally anyone. If it is private, it's going to be any of your friends, and it's going to be up for their viewing for 24 hours. Excuse me, it's October 1st, 2018. This is a story. He is in a story, publicly for 24 hours, dissing 2-3, a prominent street gang, ATK. And now he's going to do it 2 and 3. AMP sends him these photos in a private message in a thread. This was not publicly posted in a story in the state's evidence. So this is part of a thread in November of 2018. Now we have the armed robberies of Jabri Cook. Are you surprised to see more firearms? Well, you're seeing them because he's committing crimes with them. Armed robberies to gas stations. They're both committed with a black firearm with an extended magazine. He is identified on video surveillance. His personal family members confirm that it's him, and through fingerprint evidence, and he flees as a passenger in a vehicle because someone else drove him there. Within minutes, he's at one gay gas station and another. Narrow Road and Atlantic Boulevard. Do you remember the testimony from Detective Stack? Was there anything in that testimony that tells you that he was using a real firearm? Okay. We have a timeline now of 2019 and 2020. This is just to give you an idea within a reasonable scope of time after murder one. The criminal enterprise, particularly Mookey, knew of its illicit criminal nature, that one of its primary activities was to commit crime. And this is just to show you that he's still active on social media around this time, utilizing the common gang hand signs and posting publicly. So I'm just going to show you a story, February 1st, 2019. This is actually an older photo that he's posting, it appears to me, if I submit to you. You can probably tell just by their appearance from now. This is a story, February 4th, 2019, and he's using that Y&R sign. We have another aggravated fleeing. This is Bobby Whitty. He's speeding in excess of 75 miles per hour. He's going to crash. And then he's going to hide. This is a stolen vehicle. There was an assault rifle-style pistol in the car in the hands of Joseph Carter. That's why he was convicted of aggravated assault to a law enforcement officer. Why? Because he pointed that to the officer. Kwame Jones is also in the vehicle. You've heard Kwame Jones' association with Y&R. Joseph Carter is a documented member. Bobby Whitty is a documented member. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an enterprise whose one of their primary activities is to commit crime. We have a story here, get out of that bed, I need you out here. This is I submit to you a throwback photo again. The members in this photo, left to right, Joseph Carter, Tyler Jackson, are wearing the chains that distinguish them as Y&R. This is also a photograph that became part of the account, even though it's an earlier photo. In States 33. This was a story that was actually shared by _Ruthless Mookey, but it was first created by Slugger with the Cutter. Slugger with the Cutter. Cutter refers to a firearm, I submit to you. Anyway, that's Tyler. You heard testimony that Tyler Jackson Simmons Instagram, and he's saying that's my murder twin. _Ruthless Mookey. And then _Ruthless Mookey is sharing it to the world. What are they holding up? Kill them all. Kill them all is a reference to ATK. It's backwards. This is a very common way to diss a criminal gang. And then we have the 2-time K. What does K mean? Killer. This is a story on March 9th, 2020. You can tell it's an older photo, but what were the words that were added? What were the words that became public to the community? Free Bree, free Baby Dank, free Slugger. You're gonna be able to see the first two records of the Instagram account. When it was registered, which was July of 2017, and I thought it had something about others private. Okay. Free Bree, free Baby Dank. You know that Bree is Jabri Cook, Baby Dank is Brian Smith, and Slugger is Tyler Simmons, RIP KK Kwame Jones. This is not using the volume, which is fine. Let's see. We'll make sure that your copy has the volume. This is a story that was shared. You can share videos. February 27th, 2020. And we do see firearms in this video. Even in the 2020s. Even though we don't see Tyler Simmons, aka Slugger, and we don't see Jabri Cook, aka Bree. And we don't see Lil Tank, aka Brian Smith. We bang white flags for the ops if he had known. In February 28, 2020, he was still about this. Tyler Jackson is posting a story saying, we bang. You heard testimony from Detective Barry. We represent. This is what we're about, is the white flags for the ops if he had known. And He told you that these posts elicit comments, either for or against. So these comments are stating opposition to the gang or stating support for. This is, the words here are "love you little bro." Kwame Jones is doing the gang sign. It's a story of March 9th, 2020. This Okay, F who? You can't say that. F dank? Alright, that's a bet. If you diss dank, you are dissing Y&R. You are invoking a response from me. Story on March 7th, 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, Murder 1, the lyrics in Murder 1, the members in Murder 1, the clothing in Murder 1, the firearm in Murder 1, the message in Murder 1, all relate to Y&R. Murder 1 was created on its behalf. Murder 1 promoted Y&R. What is the definition of primary activity? We've covered the fact through detectives that it could just be one of its primary activities, but this further defines that activity, that it need not be the only activity, and it need not even be the most important activity. But the state of Florida has proven that one of its primary activities is to commit crime. We appreciate all of the time that you have spent this week being so aware and alert and awake and patient with us as we presented all this evidence to you. I hope that explaining the law kind of simplifies things, and of course putting the evidence in a timeline so that you understand where it fits all in helps you to understand why the state is so confident that we've proven that Tyler Jackson was in possession of a real firearm in this case. The stipulations, of course, that he was a prohibited person at the time, and that when he was in possession of the firearm, he was in possession of furtherance of the gang. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Owens.